Welcome to the Healing Grove podcast. I'm Dr. Kristin, an integrative holistic family physician, author of Life After Lyme, and host in this virtual space of learning, healing, and growing. I believe humans are like trees, and our physical limb is only one of many. Health on all limbs of the tree, emotional, conceptual, social, spiritual, is absolutely required for the whole tree that is you to be vibrantly well. I created the Healing Grove podcast as a place to showcase some of the world's best integrative and holistic medicine, to expose you to transformative tools and mindset shifts for all limbs of your tree. I hope you enjoy our conversation in the Healing Grove today as much as I enjoyed having it. Greetings, everyone. Hey, Sophie.
Hi, Kristin. Hello.
I'm so excited to introduce you to everyone. Everyone, this is my friend Sophie Wisbrun. She is passionate about leaving the world a better place for her children. And she's also the founder of Doing Business, Doing Good, an action-oriented educational platform to inspire and empower people to use their life and work as a force for good. Through her programs, courses, and coaching, she connects individuals, brands, and whole organizations to their purpose, leading to less burnout, more joy, and a more resilient workforce. In this way, she's been able to amplify her own impact by guiding leaders who are creating a better world for themselves, their companies, and for the planet. Let me tell you, Sophie is one of the most vibrant and energized and purpose-driven people I've ever met. And I want you to hear her tell her story because it's amazing, and I think it's going to help you also feel like you've got more to your life than just being sick if you're in a place of illness right now. So Sophie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting me to be part of the Healing Grove, and hello everyone.
So before we get into what you do and how you help people connect to their purpose, I would love for you to share with us your healing journey.
Yes. So my healing journey, my healing journey is an ever going on journey. I think we're all ever on a healing path. So my healing started when I was a little kid. I had this inner call to leave the world a better place, and when I was 18 I was searching for what then to do, what to study, what to go for, and I thought a lot about how I could create an impact. I was actually more into religion and philosophy and history, that really energized me. But then I figured but how I can make a huge impact is actually in groups of people, bigger organizations, because they can create a huge impact. So that is how I decided to study business, and to also start in working in business. Like everyone, I was working really hard because I thought, the harder I work, the faster I am the boss of the organization, and I can really change it to do only good. Of course, that is not how it went. So very early on in my career, I watched this movie of Al Gore, and I was really on fire to basically do it now and really use my power as a marketeer at that time to change the world through business and create a better world through business and the brands I was managing. So my first year in a big multinational, I went to my managers and said, I want to take up sustainability. I didn't study it because in my time there were not so many studies in this area as now. But I was really determined to take it up. I got a yes because I showed some business results at the time. So I got the full freedom to take that up next to my normal role. And that is how my journey started as a positive impact and purpose revolutionary, because I had to go against the stream in everything. Because that same manager that said yes asked me, but what is sustainability and what is CSR and what is purpose. And so I had to work together with people to actually fill in what it means. So that was, to cut a long, story short, because I worked for 15 years in business. I basically did all that time 2 jobs, and worked very hard against the stream, transform brands and organizations to become more purpose-driven and sustainable, and also help people to find their purpose and how they could use their skills to make a positive impact in business. But then I figured I really wanted to go out being in just one organization. And because it also took me a lot of energy actually to go against the stream. And I was like also close to a burnt out. My sense of purpose kept me going. And that is what I will talk about later. But I felt I could use my energy in a better way and really help all the people and organizations and brands that really want to change and transform and create that regenerative world we all want for ourselves and our children. So that is how I stepped out of that and created my own business, and to go after everyone that is struggling to find their individual purpose or their organizational or business purpose, and help them on that journey. In that journey, being a solo entrepreneur, I also stumbled across a lot of healing challenges. And I didn't understand why, because I was like, I survived 15 years of hard working in huge organizations, and I was thriving by my purpose. So I thought, how on earth? Now I'm like really setting up my own business, my sole purpose. What is going wrong here? But I figured out that I couldn't go on the same way I always did, like working really hard, but I really needed to create a new balance. And that is also why I chose to do so. Meanwhile, I had three children. I wanted to create a new life where like my work and life was really balanced, and integrate yoga or exercising and working on my own physical and mental and spiritual health. I got that lesson by basically getting an accident, and then I figured actually that to basically be fully successful in living your purpose, and you need to integrate it in all aspects of your life. Otherwise, you get these signs. And I really saw this accident. I had a ski accident. I hurt my knee bands, and I couldn't move. Literally, I couldn't move. I couldn't like really execute my purpose, my life purpose, for quite some weeks and months actually. And then I really went on an inner journey and figured out what I was missing to be fully balanced and connected from within, to really thrive again in this new situation with my higher purpose. And that is also which I integrated in my programs to really look at all aspects of our inner being, because then we can also create a change around us.
So we'll get to what you actually do when you share the tool with us, but I want to go back for a second, because it sounds like from your description you were kind of like on a roller coaster in terms of your own intensity, but always heading in the same direction. Then you had this accident, and that was like 2 years ago, right? That was about 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Did you what did that do to you? I mean, tell us about what that was like in terms of how, that you're such a powerful being. You've got these 3 kids, you're creating all these programs, you're consulting. I know at that time you were consulting with like whole hotel chains and companies and school, like creating a curriculum basically for sustainability for companies that wanted to be more green. And suddenly you were like flattened. Can you share what that was like with us? I know it was a really hard time.
Yeah, it was basically a slowdown, because I was indeed on high speed. And it was a sudden slowdown. I mean, I basically, how it happened was I was on the slopes, and I'm a very good skier, so I don't have any fear on the slopes. My daughter had some fears, a daughter of 6-year-old, and I thought I had superpowers, so I decided to have my daughter in between my knees on a very steep slope, and that was not such a smart decision. Because she fell, and I thought, I mean, I could hold her with the strength of my legs, but I mean, something, went wrong, and we fell. I mean, my daughter had nothing, but yeah, my knee broke. And then I was in this banana. I don't know how you call it in English, but in this banana, I went down the hill, and I was like looking at the sky, and I was like realizing, okay, I have been very out of touch actually all the time with my physical body, because I was so living in the with my spirit and my soul and my mind, that but always out of touch with what my body was telling me. So I really tuned into that awareness deeper. I really felt like all the pains, not only my knee, but everything. And that is when a journey started of having more moments of peace, more moments of meditation, slow down, awareness to listen more to my body and bring that in my total consciousness. So yeah, that was what happened then, and it was at times hard for me because I indeed was always running, and now I literally was on the sofa, and then I couldn't walk or move for many months. So I couldn't do all these workshops that were planned. I just had to cancel everything. But it brought me a lot of learnings, I think it was a sign of the universe to take this slow down and embrace something else in a deeper way.
So in retrospect, I know we can often tell ourselves stories that make the story make sense, like the sign of the universe, and it was a pause that I needed, and I got all these lessons. Those are all the learnings and silver linings, right? But in the moment, how long did it take you before you could really see that clearly and embrace the learnings of it? I mean, was it super easy for you to get there, or did you struggle a little bit with that?
I think there were struggles because when that happens, it's like, I call it pivotal moments of change. So really setbacks. It was a setback for me because, like I said, I couldn't move. I love moving. I love sport. I love being in action. But sometimes I realized, it's also needed to sometimes not be in action and then learn about other things. You ask, okay, how? It was a process. Was not like immediately I had this click, because I always have this click of when something bad happens, I'm like, okay, this is a lesson for me, and then I'm kind of figuring out what the lesson is, and that takes a couple of weeks and months, or now I'm still on the path to discover more. So that is definitely a process, but I think also with purpose, it is I wanted to get back on that path as well. I figured out other things, how I also again could get back on the path in other ways than I was before, and that helped me to get out. But back to your question, for me, when something physical happens, it does something with my mind and my spirit, because it all hangs together: heart, body, mind, and spirit. So everything went to a space where I need to get myself together again. That is where the purpose helps, but it is a process.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about what your relationship was with your purpose during that time. Did it ever waver, or were you using that kind of as your tether to you know, the next chapter of you, which was going to be healed?
I embraced meditation more, which I didn't do so much before that. I did do it, but I went into much more different meditation styles. And I also focused more on online. So I couldn't go anywhere. I mean, we faced that all with COVID, which is like a messenger for us all to do things in another way. I just had this message a little bit before. I mean, I was already doing a lot in line, but that was the only thing I could do now. So he helped me to make my online courses happen, because that was the only thing I could do. So I just focused on that. I skipped everything else. So yeah, I mean, in that way, it helped me to get on my purpose path and help people virtually. So yeah, that is how it helped me. And also again, COVID also teaches us that, but the power of connection and the power of kind and compassionate people, because people helped me. I mean, I couldn't bring my kids to school. My husband also had a busy job. And I'm living in a foreign country in Germany. I'm Dutch, but I'm living in Germany. So how do you organize that? I mean, my parents couldn't help me. My family couldn't help me. So suddenly there were moms at school that were like showing kindness and compassion really in unexpected ways. So you learn to then also ask for more help, which I was not very familiar with. I always figure it out myself. So there were new things that I was very grateful for that came on my path, which wouldn't have come on my path if this didn't happen.
Yeah. So you're really talking about the gifts, the sort of internal gifts of cultivating that ability to build a bigger team and ask for help and become patient and get creative about how you work on your projects or work on your purpose. So would you tell us a little bit more? I mean, I know your purpose kind of as it stands is to sort of heal the planet, right? But tell us about what that is about for you. Like, what does that really mean to you?
Yeah, so it means a lot of things. I mean, and it also expanded. For example, like you said, I mean, I really want to build and keep planet for my children and for everyone's children and future generations. And that, I mean, the purpose that I have to leave the world a better place got more aspects in it when I grew older. And when my children came, I mean, it really is becoming more and more urgent, and also with the issues popping up. So what it means for me is that, I mean, it's really, I mean, we are with a lot of people on this planet, and we're all getting less healthy, less happy. There are more burnouts and more issues in the world, and also more issues that people face. So my dream is really that every person in the world, or I mean the majority of people, because if we want to reach a tipping point, I think we need 10 or 20% of the people. So if you start with that 10 or 20%, I mean, my dream is that everyone who really knows their purpose and brings that across, and not only, I mean, in their true authentic self, so all the aspects of self, but also in the world they live in. So in their family, in their community, in their organization, or in their business, wherever they work. And really with, I mean, the respect for people and nature, because we are nature, we are human nature basically, and we are connected to nature. And this aspect of nature is really important, because I mean, we have an inner nature, we have our inner sustainability, and that really is connected to our, I mean, outer world, nature itself. and the world around us. So like you said in the beginning, if we heal ourselves, which basically means if you're healing ourselves completely and fully, then all the dots get connected within us, and we are going to live our purpose, our natural best. And if that connects to the world around us, which is an interconnection, and then we're all together healing the planet, and creating this better world.
It's so beautiful. I feel like we have a lot of synergy in terms of what we're doing and what our goals are in the people that we're working with, right? Like I feel like I'm really trying to amplify my impact by helping people heal themselves so that they can go on and do their part in healing the world, or healing their family, which is their microcosm of the world, right? Or making some small change that's going to have a ripple effect too. And you're doing the same thing, for people who are not necessarily self-identifying as ill, but who are ill in a spiritual sense, right? They're not fully stepping into and embracing who they are in their workplace or in their leadership. They're not connected.
Yeah, actually, I mean, yeah, they are not connected. And actually, if you ask in a room of people, if they're living their full potential, or if they feel they're missing something, and in their lives or in their work, I mean, and if they want to find more meaning or more fulfill life or in their work, I mean, most of the times all the hands go up. Or if you ask, do you want to make more positive impact, all the hands go up. So there is this inner drive of people to connect with themselves, with others, with nature, with doing something good, because it's healing in itself. But in a way, I mean, we lost that in society, in our current society. It was there, I mean, ages ago, in ancient cultures. They were in tune with nature, in tune with their true authentic selves. But we forgot how to do that. And we're learning that in a way. But in a way, everyone is on that path, and everyone is, getting their full truth, to bring that to the world, and find their piece of the puzzle, how to leave the world a better place. And the world is really not, I mean, it's your inner world, your family, your the work you touch. So, and that is happening at the moment. There are many crises, I mean, all around us. And in a way, it all makes us sick, and everyone deals with it in their own way, but everyone is trying to deal with it. I mean, if all these things that are happening now, from COVID to you name it, it does something with people. And there are studies that show that actually this affects our health, be it physical, be it mental, be it spiritual, be it emotional. And it's our job to basically deal with it, turn it around into something positive, which heals ourselves and heals the world, and connect all the dots, to solve this connection crisis which we are actually in.
Yeah, thank you for spelling it out. Well, speaking of connection, you have a tool for us, right, that might help people looking to connect to their purpose sort of begin to take some steps in that direction, to identify what that is and how they might move more in alignment with it.
Yeah, I love tools and exercises and questions, because we all need sometimes questions, tools, and exercises to trigger ourselves to think different and get closer to our truth. So do you want me to share something? Yeah. All right. So I have a 4-step purpose method. So like I said, I mean, I'm on a ever healing journey and ever purpose journey. And I always, I mean, had this sense of purpose, which I also articulated when I was working in businesses for 15 years. But when I started my own business, I really wanted to get clarity on how to communicate my higher purpose, which is basically the purpose of my business and how I help people. So I became a purpose junkie, and I read many books and followed many methods. And basically, this very simple visual summarizes my holistic and transformative and also practical approach to get closer to your purpose. So basically, it starts really first with you to really connect to your authentic self. And that is basically to connect to your superpowers, your gifts, your passions, and also your personal values. So you can ask yourself questions like, okay, what is it that I'm really good at? Or what are my top 5 personal values? Or talking about passions, what do I really love doing? But there's more to that, to your inner self as well. I mean, in my trainings, I talk about the wheel of life, which basically taps in all aspects of your life, and you need to dig deep into all the aspects of your life to really get to your true authentic self. We also talk then about stories of your past, and get really to the key themes of your life. When you really are clear about your true authentic self, and just, I mean, tapping back, relating back to the connection theme we just had, you also need to tap into like the female part and the male part, your shadow and your light, your body, your mind, your heart, your spirit, and your inner and outer sustainability. So this is really what links to the wheel of life, and I can talk a lot about that, but I will park that for now. So if you're clear about your true authentic self, it also connects to who you serve, what problems you want to solve, what problems you want to solve for the people around you in your family, your community, the people you work with. So basically, it's the question about how you connect to others and the broader world, and all the different worlds you touch. Also, how you collaborate, connect with others, and how you want to do that. So that is the we part. And then that goes also to the world part. And with world, I mean, of course, your communities, your organizations, but also the natural world. What is your relationship to the natural world, and how do you serve that? So we then have touched upon me, we, world. But then if you have clarity on yourself and how you connect to the world, at this intersection, you find your purpose. And your purpose, you can have a sense of purpose, but it really becomes strong and amplifies if you really can clearly communicate about it and connect with other people about it. And this is what I call your personal purpose statement, which basically encompasses your why, your mission, and your vision. And basically the change that you envision to happen for you and the people you help and you serve. And then, of course, I mean, we can talk about purpose, you can be very clear about purpose, but in the end, it is the impact and the actions you do that really matter. So, of course, then we also need to talk about, okay, how do you turn that into action? How do you turn that into positive impact? And with positive impact, I mean impact that is healing and that is regenerative, that is helping nature, that is helping people to thrive and to heal and to become better persons. So this is basically, in short, the 4 steps that I touch in my method. As part of these steps, there are of course many things, but I will later on explain more. So yeah, maybe shall I share a few questions, Kristin, to trigger some our audience a little bit to think about their personal purpose?
I think that would be perfect.
Okay. Yeah, so Yeah, to start thinking about clarifying your purpose, I mean, you can start thinking about these questions. So one is, I mean, what are your superpowers, your unique skills, your gifts, your talents, and your abilities? A second one is, what are you really passionate about? And what do you really love doing? I mean, what comes really natural to you? You don't have to think about it. I mean, you just love doing it. Also, it is good to think about your values because they basically guide your purpose actions. Most of the times, I mean, when you're doing something that is against your values, it doesn't feel good. You feel it in your gut, or you feel it, yeah, either physically, spiritually, or mentally that it is not the right thing. So it's very good to be very aware about your personal values. And I always say, I mean, at least know your top 5.
I'm going to pause you for 1 second and say that if you're listening to this and you don't have your journal out yet, get out your journal and start answering these questions. These are such important questions, and they really get to the heart of what makes us tick and what makes us unique in our humanness. And they are key on your healing journey, wherever you are. In my experience, people don't get well from complex chronic illness until they have really done the work to look closely at themselves. So I just wanted to take a moment and validate this process and tell people that it's really important to do this work at some point.
These are really the essence to get to your purpose. And I mean, maybe I can share a little story about the values, how it helped me to overcome actually a health issue. A very short story, Kristin, is it okay?
Of course.
So once I got a job as a chief sustainability officer, and I went on a dinner with my husband, and he said, "Oh, this is so cool and great." And I don't know. I mean, I didn't know a lot about the people and the culture in that company. It was a respected company, but somehow I felt super ill. So I had diarrhea. I had like spots on my face for like a week, and I didn't know. I mean, I related it in a way to this job. It was really bizarre. So I actually said, okay, it sounds optimistic and great, but it just doesn't feel right, and I don't know why, but I'm gonna listen to this. So I listened and I said no. And in the end, I turned around this job in some projects that I could do from my own business, in my own time, in my own way, respecting basically the time I wanted to spend with my family, because this was like a full-time job, 5 days a week, very heavy, very so I decided to do that, and it was the best decision ever. So I could still serve this customer and transform it to become more sustainable, but do it from a distance, be with my kids, now and then go there. And actually when I went there, I suddenly knew why I had to take this decision, because it was a very toxic culture, a lot of leadership issues. So it was a good decision to be there a couple of days, share all my energy and my knowledge, but then also go back again to my family. So I decided to take the decision based on listening to my body and also listening to my values, of which family and health is in the top of my list. So yeah, this is how it can turn out if you listen to your values and the science of your body, basically health science, and how it can turn out well actually, whilst you don't know in the process why it is like that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think it really illustrates the importance of paying attention to your, like you said, to your body, but also to, some signs that things might not be on track, right? And sort of being willing to investigate that.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Exactly. So yeah, and the other questions are about, what breaks your heart, and what problems would you like to solve? How would you like to serve other people? I talk about the Sustainable Development Goals, which is basically the Sustainable Development Framework of the United Nations. which is there for humanity. So there are 17 goals and many sub goals. And businesses integrate those sustainable development goals, but we as people also can integrate those in our lives, in our work, and in that way, I mean, also contribute to sustainable development for ourselves and in our lives and work around us. And there are like problems linked to these goals, and there are so many problems, but there are also so many solutions. So it's good to dive into that, what really breaks your heart, and then understand why, and then also turn it around and think, yeah, what can you do about it, and what positive impact do you want to create, and what vision do you hold for a better world? Because the moment you are doing this, you are shifting basically the problems that really touch your heart and your soul into doing something about it. Something magical happens. And researchers show, I mean, it's about really knowing your purpose, because it connects everything within you and also connects with people around you. But then it's also about really actually doing good and serving others, which makes you actually feeling happy and feeling good and also healthy. Yeah, it's just cool to and helpful to think about these questions, and it's a first appetizer to think about purpose.
Beautiful. And I would just again encourage people to do this activity. It's like if you're not focusing on this every day, and most of us aren't, we'll be honest, right? We're going about our lives, or we're focusing on our body and our illness and our whatever jobs. But every time you bring attention and awareness to these kinds of questions, you're flexing the muscle of that self-awareness, and you're making it stronger, and you're making it easier for yourself when you really need to be in touch with your values. Like the couple of descriptions you've given, Sophie, about when you were ill or when you had some symptoms and needed to pay attention to those symptoms. Mm-hmm. Because you do this work, it was easier for you than it would have been if you hadn't been sort of doing this work, right? So because you flex those muscles, they're strong, they're pathways that have been laid down. So I encourage people to lay some of these pathways down if you haven't done a lot of work on this kind of thing, because it's really important moving forward, wherever you are, wherever you're starting.
Yeah, I mean, that's yeah, very true. I mean, it's your sense of purpose, or even if you have a clear personal purpose statement and an action plan for yourself, I mean, it really serves as your stronghold and your guiding light in difficult times. I mean, it can really make you more resilient and creative and resourceful to cope with the challenges, be it health challenges or other challenges that come on your path. That was my experience. If I hadn't had my purpose, I mean, I would probably, I mean, some challenges that I faced, I mean, it would have taken me probably much longer than having this purpose and always having this light, this stronghold to get grip on, to get back on track and back on the path that is laid out for you and laid out for everyone, because we're born to walk our purpose path.
Well, that's probably a good place to end. But before we do, is there anything that we haven't covered that you would want to share with this audience of people, from your heart to theirs?
I would wish everyone, I mean, a very positive and inspiring, how all that also might sound, healing journey and purpose journey. Because in the end, I mean, we're all energy. Actually, 99.9%, I believe, we're all energy. We're all stardust. We're all made of the same. We're all one. We're all part of this beautiful universe. We're all, for one or another reason, on this planet Earth. But we're here for a very short time. So let's just make the best of it. And I'm here to help everyone to find their purpose and make the best of your life and help you to heal And yeah, like Kristin also said, if we all do that, then we heal the planet altogether.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Sophie. It's been so good talking with you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kristin, for your amazing project, the Healing Grove. I mean, it's gonna help so many people, and thanks so much for inviting me to be part of it. Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Healing Grove podcast. If you liked it, please be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to deepen your experience further, consider grabbing a copy of the Healing Grove Playbook. With journal prompts for this podcast and 41 others, it's the perfect place to record your learnings, keep track of the tools you explore, and reflect on your own experience. Finally, it's important to mention that even though I am a doctor, nothing you hear on this podcast, whether from myself or my guests, constitutes medical advice. Any intervention you try should always be discussed with and supervised by a trusted member of your own healing team. Thanks for listening, and see you next time in the Healing Grove.